See, now you've lost me again.
It's the Fujita scale. It measures the intensity of a tornado by how much it eats.
Eats?
Destroys.
Little encounter we had back there is a strong F2, F3 maybe.
Bet we see some F4s today.
That'd be sweet.
4 is good. 4 will relocate your house fairly efficiently.
Is there an F5? What would that be like?
The finger of God.
None of you have ever seen an F5?
Just one of us.
Welcome to Finger of Pod. I am Brian, and this is Dave.
How's it going?
It's going. Oh, you weren't talking to me.
No, I was talking to the
tens of dozens of listeners. Well, you know, it's interesting. We were Dave and I were going over names of the show, and all the names that we kept coming up with. Some other ingenious bastards out there kind of beat us to it.
Those foul fuckers.
Foul, heathenistic fuckers. So we finally found one. There's a lot of things as you start to listen to this show that you'll find is there's a lot of inside humor.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of outside humor as well, but there's a lot of inside jokes and a lot of things that basically make us laugh. So one of Dave's famous sayings is, you know, this is normally just a show for two.
I don't think it's going to be any different.
No, I don't think it is. Well, you know, our mothers will listen, and that's pretty much it. But the Finger of Pod comes from the clip that you heard that kind of set up the show. I think the movie is Twister.
Absolutely. With
the esteemed actor Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton, and no, that's okay. I don't want to.
Is he a thespian? He was in Spaceballs, for Christ's sakes. No. I'm thinking of the other guy, the dude from Independence Day. That's not the same Bill Paxton.
I have no fucking idea.
We're getting off to
I really have no
Bill
fucking
Paxton
idea.
Is in Big Level.
I was thinking more of Helen Hunt. Of the old Family Guy episode where Helen Hunt, do you want to have sex? No.
It's always bad when you ask them, and they, not only do they turn you down, but then they laugh at you about it. Like, no, absolutely not.
But yeah, that scene in Twister is one of the fun. First off, the movie Twister. I mean, everybody's seen it.
Wow,
and it's one of those movies that's just it's so goddamn awful, yet so entertaining you can't turn it off. And that scene where they're sitting in the kitchen and they're just talking about the different, an F3 is this and an F4 is this. You know, it's fine for you to talk about all the horrific things that an F2, F3, F4 can do, ripping apart houses and shredding fucking farm animals. That's all fine, but as soon as that fucking is there such a thing as an F5?
Clink!
Clink! And all the fucking silverware just hits the table.
And it's just quiet, that awkward silence. The camera pans.
Finger God.
What do you call an F5?
Oh my god. That fucking scene is so bad. That whole fucking movie is so bad. It's terribly bad. I mean, fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is just an accomplished actor and is a fantastic actor, plays this backwoods country fucking bumfuck jackass in that movie.
Yeah.
Just the Mr. Over-the-top guy, you know, as far as the tornadoes go. And when they talk about the F5 thing, I think he's the one that actually says, it's a finger of God. Has anyone ever seen an F5? And the whole crowd, all of them kind of look up towards the ceiling, because that's, you know, the Helen Hunt's characters on the second floor.
Right.
Fuck, man, that just movie is so bad, and that scene is so laughable.
But the scene the thing that makes it's all brilliant, but it's the one thing, just the fork hitting the plate.
Oh my god.
Clink.
I wish we had a sound effect. That fucking, and I don't think it was just one, but it's like, how dare you mention?
Yeah, how could you?
How dare you mention an F5? How dare you even ask? Dude, don't you know that an F5 would be like the finger of God? And That fucking fork hitting the plate is just such a hilariously bad moment because they try to force the
dramatic
the shock,
sort of
in that dramatic pause, the dramatic moment. It's just laughable.
I'm wondering if an F5 is the finger of God. I mean, would a tsunami be like the shocker of God, like the
two and making one
does
thing?
Does he function on that level?
See, I think the shocker would be more of like
an earthquake.
No, because it is since a tsunami is a flood. I'm thinking more it would be like a day after an evening spent at Taco Bell. So you're making.
How dare you? They could be sponsors one day. How dare you?
So you're mixing some Taco Bell, some Ice House, which we used to call Ass House.
Oh no!
For reasons which I'm sure you understand.
Got any
got some malt liquor. I mean, the next day, that I think would be the tsunami of God when you get that backsplash. Which, by the way, have you ever?
Here we go.
Have you ever been so cramped?
Land this plane, dude.
And so ready to fucking blast one out that you're like leaning forward, almost hugging your knees because you're just like, oh my god, that fuck. Am I alone here?
No, I'm listening. I just in our first podcast, obviously I get a gall. I didn't shut my ringer off.
Way to go,
noob, fucking noob.
So anyway, that's what I picture. I picture someone just grabbing their gut, fucking bending over, and just spraying the back of the toilet seat because it's just a fucking recoil.
Is it like Dumb and Dumber where it's just like
where the feet come off the floor because it's such a horrid, yet at the same time such a moment of ecstasy.
At the end, what I call the question mark was like it has the inflection, and he's just like, that's the look of a man that's accomplished something.
So that would be the tsunami of God. I think
the tsunami of God it has something to do with a horrible food chain. Loosely titled with Mexican food and malt liquor.
Malt liquor.
Liquor. Yes, motherfuckers malt liquor.
So anyway, so that's the name, and that's how we came up with it. It's always, it is a moment in a movie. I think you'll find from us that a lot of things that tickle us the most are just references, movie references, quotes, song references. That's the kind of stuff that just makes us laugh over and over again.
Right.
That one in particular just always kind of tickled the spot for me. So I think it fits. Finger of Pod.
Finger of Pod. Yeah. I think it's highly marketable.
Indeed.
My marketing mind is already spinning with T-shirt images and logos and what have you.
Indeed.
Which once again will probably just go to our mothers and friends. But yeah, the other thing is we do a drinking show called Drink Like a Fish. It's a video review show, and you can find that on drinklikeafish.net. And on that show, we do beer reviews, and we're kind of branching out, and we're trying different beers. We're fortunate enough to have a lot of breweries that have faith in us enough to send us their beers and say, hey, you two idiots, maybe you can try to string a sentence together long enough to review this beer.
Yeah, I think you put on a good show. Oh, you got a good
really good
there.
shoe.
Really good shoe. You got a good front there when you contact him. I don't know, maybe your just emails look professional or something because apparently you're not
do them in Microsoft Paint like crayon.
You're not meeting these people in person.
I literally write them and go, I like turtles. oh, we need to send this boy to the bar.
Well,
you're onto something, kid.
It could be the beard. You're starting to look like a terrorist at this point. They could just be afraid of a jihad.
So we've been doing that for a little while now, and it's still. We have a blast doing it. We really like it, but we were talking the other day, and we just kind of decided we're both big fans of radio. We both have. I'm just gonna say it. We listen to O&A.
Absolutely, huge O&A fans.
Big O&A fans. If you don't know who O&A is, it's Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton, a lot of that cast of characters.
Currently on XM Sirius. So
once again, not a sponsor. That would be
not a sponsor, but definitely. If you're into some good, I believe they would just call it cringe humor. The kind of stuff that you laugh and then you feel kind of dirty afterwards.
You do have to take a shower after listening to that show. Where you're like,
so like you were saying, it's the kind of stuff that we both really enjoy. The kind of stuff that you laugh at even though you shouldn't. And I think that's really what life's all about.
Inappropriate laughter.
Inappropriate humor.
Inappropriate humor. It's something that we follow. We engage in, and hopefully can do that during this particular show and some of the other shows that we do. We had talked about doing a standard format where we would put a list of topics together and really get our shit together. That didn't quite work, and it doesn't really work for us. That's not to say that we won't do some things later. We would really like some participation from anybody that listens to us.
Anybody, please. Yeah, right now the only thing I have in front of me is the sweet tea vodka and lemonade that's gotten me loosened up a little bit. I have no list. I have no topics. I even prompted Brian earlier this week. I'm like, hey man, so you want to do this podcast thing? Maybe we could get together, get a list of topics together. We have nothing. It's a show about nothing.
Dave, what? What are we on?
I mean, to steal, obviously from another format, but yeah, it is right as of now. It's a show about nothing, but that's kind of when we have the most fun. I think a lot of the fun that we have is simply off of just riffing. Riffing off of just humorous moments, humorous stories, humorous references, and hopefully we can share that with all of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things in this world, Dave, that make me giggle and make me laugh. And we do have some similar interests.
Crippled children,
falling downstairs,
rapes.
It's not rape. It's surprise sex.
That's true. I did point that out in one of our Drink Like a Fish episodes.
That got edited out. That was inappropriate.
Did it?
It did.
This should probably get edited out too.
There's a lot that should be edited out, but
a lot of my life should be edited out.
There's some interesting things about Dave and I.
Is there?
I'd like to. Yeah, I like to save seals on the off season, and I go over it. No, I don't do any of that. I would say that my political views are skewed to the liberal side of things.
You know what? You say that. But I still have yet to find out exactly what your liberal view, or not what your liberal views are, but what your views are. Because you offer tidbits, you offer snippets.
Just the tip.
You just kind of rub the tip around, but you never really.
Let's play a little game I like to call Just the Tip.
You never throw it all in there,
right.
So I'm still not quite sure about you, but sure. Okay, so you say you lean to the liberal side, which I understand because you're from that fucking communist state of California, which we all hope just snaps off and sinks into the sea at one point. There's actually a great song from Tool that it just makes me think of that. It talks about learn to swim. That's I think. The chorus is learn to swim.
Too soon.
Too soon. I'm really hoping that entire state snaps off and we get some really nice beachfront property in Arizona.
Oh my God, no way! I think we may have at least 2 viewers in California or listeners. So that's
move now and save your souls.
Please.
No, it's a really nice place to live, and unfortunately, it's been infested by idiots.
What place hasn't, dude? I mean, look at the White House.
True. For a liberal though, you'd think you would like Obama. I mean,
no, you know what I like? I like having my paycheck. I like being able to do what I want to do, and I like not being fucked with. That's what I like.
See, but then you're not really a liberal. I mean, you're perhaps a liberal in the classic sense of a liberal, which I think that, over the years I myself have gravitated towards. I used to be, when I was sitting there watching the fucking Iraq War kick off in like 2002.
I missed that game. What was the kickoff?
No, that was the fucking kickoff, dude. When they did that shock and awe shit, me and my buddy were sitting on my couch. We made sure we were tuned in to fucking CNN so we could watch the bombs and the explosions and the brown people dying. And it was
oh my God! Let me just I don't. Oh my God, dude! No, let's just change not brown people. Let's just say the enemy at the time that just happened to be of a certain color.
Well, don't you realize that the United States always picks wars with brown people? Think about it. You've got Cuba, you've got Venezuela.
What brown people are in Russia?
You've got Somalia.
We were at war with
Iraq. But they never actually got into a war with Russia. It was the Cold War. We had some disagreements, but the Russians sent their brown people after us with Cuba and the Cuban Missile Crisis. We tried to send people in to kill them, and it failed, unfortunately.
Was that British thing? Who's like, How do they do a drive-by? Reginald, I disagree! They take
So,
off.
you know, I just, you know, it's the way it is. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But anyway, with the whole Iraq thing, I mean, I sat down and I was fucking stoked, man. We sat there, I think, with beers and Arby's sandwiches, just gloating in our own capitalist American ways and loving every minute of it. You know, bomb the fuck out of them. Since then, however, I have kind of leaned into this anti-war, not really for the sake of peace, but more for the sake of fuck 'em. That's more my opinion.
My thing is, okay, in my opinion, should we have gone in there? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe that wasn't the time. But I think that we were led to believe something. You know, it was kind of along the lines of like, hey man, that dude's talking shit about you, and then you walk over there and punch him. It's like, you know, that guy actually didn't talk shit, but the guy was still an asshole.
Yeah,
and the guy was still an asshole. So he walked over there and he hit him. But right now, this is what the way I feel is, if my child back today, or wherever we're at, Afghanistan, or wherever they're fighting, and they were to die today, would I feel that they died other than defending freedom, defending our country, and being a representative of our country, which I have the utmost respect for, but do I think that do I feel that they feel that it's a decent cause, or that we're really over there for? So. I mean, how do you tell that to a family member? Okay, your family member is gone; it's no longer here for. In World War I, they died to fight Nazis. In World War II, in the Korean, even in Vietnam.
Wait, I just want to put a pause on the moment here. In World War I, they died to fight Nazis.
I meant Nazis for World War II. I was getting to that. I bled them all together.
So I just wanted to just point out that you don't really know what you're talking.
Most of the wars, and you could even say
it's all Germany's fault. It's all Germany's fault. We'll just put it that way.
But they make good beer. The Germans do make good beer, so that's
sure.
So their porn is questionable.
You know, I think that is that's another topic for another day.
Sorry.
Anyway, but about the war, I completely agree with you. You know, the fact that someone would die for this war today is frustrating because you almost feel like, well, for what?
And we were told they were supposed to come home. Like that's the whole reason why Obama had said we're bringing our boys home. In 6 months.
Right, but I hate Obama. I'm not even going to fucking just beat around that bush. I hate Obama.
No pun intended.
I cannot wait for the day when he's elected office. I am hoping with every breath that he is a one-term president because I think that he is a party line fuck-up with no political soul and independent thought. I think he just does what the party is supposed to do, and that's all. And the party I disagree with on almost every platform. But anyway, as far regarding the war,
well, at least you're biased.
At least I have an open mind.
Sure.
The whole thing about the war and the whole reason I think that happened is because at the time we had taken a huge hit, and I love how we're being topical with a 10-year-old, 10-year-old thing, but fucking Bush was under a lot of heat because 9/11 had just happened and the whole country was like, what the fuck, man? Because let's face it, we all have this fucking this idea that the government is all powerful, that they're going to catch anybody who does things bad and they're always going to be there to save the day and they know everything that's going on all the time. And what's weird is because at the same time we don't like it. We don't like that big brother aspect, but we almost expect it. And then to find out that we could get fucking hit from below, like a fucking below-the-belt shot like 9/11. And I think that the problem was, leading up to the whole going into Iraq thing, for years, everybody thought Saddam had WMD. So it wasn't just, a lot of people blame Bush. It wasn't just Bush pushing it. There are lots of videos on the internet of fucking Hillary Clinton pushing that we need to go after fucking these people, and fucking just liberals in general, the Democratic Party in general, saying, yes, we need to go after Saddam Hussein. So it wasn't just Bush. But I think the problem was...
But it was his administration, so that's why it falls on him.
True, that's very true.
It's along the lines of, if you have a house and somebody falls or is injured in your house, even though you weren't there and you weren't responsible and you were upstairs taking a shit, it's still your house, it's still on your watch, you're still culpable.
True, but I think that what it really comes down to is the fact that, like I said, we had just gotten nailed. Hit below the belt, completely unexpected. And I'm afraid, not I'm afraid, but I think that Bush was afraid that he thought of it as, well, if I don't do anything, the people will be basically pissed at me. Like, you knew that he had WMD, and you didn't do anything about it, especially right after we got hit. So I think that it wasn't a fact, like, everybody credits Bush as being like this evil mastermind, and I don't think he's that deep. I think it was more of like a reflex action of like, wow, we're a hurting country, which is funny. One of my students said to me this week that I'm a sore pup today, or I'm a hurting pup today. So we as a country we were a hurting pup. And then there was all of a sudden this one guy, he was like, fuck America, and fuck them, and fuck this, and I shall take over the world, and I shall do all these things, and I have weapons, I will make everyone pay who stands against me. And it was one of those things that, like, you know what, we just can't take the chance, and fuck him, we're going to take him out. Looking back, I mean, Monday morning quarterbacking, maybe not the best idea. But at the time, I think we were so gun-shy that it was like, we gotta fucking do something. I don't care what it is, but we gotta fucking do something. That's the way I've always seen it.
And the horrible fact is, war makes money, and Halliburton and that whole thing that came out. This is the thing, man, and I think that politicians should take note if they're listening to the show, which I don't think they are.
Probably not.
The day of, in Nixon's time, there was Deep Throat, and there was this lone... Yeah, exactly, Linda Lovelace. There was this one... informant that met somebody secretly in the hall. You know what, man? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a blog. Everybody has information. You can get information out in 3 seconds that shit's going down. Like, that should make you realize that this world has now become that much smaller. Because in 2 seconds, I could Skype with somebody over in Korea. May not understand what they're saying if they don't speak that, but... you are instantly connected. And that whole Cold War mentality of, well, we'll just sweep it under the rug and nobody's going to know and blah, 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 blah.
Is this the liberal coming out because we're all like, yeah, we're all part of the same big world, man. We're all connected by the web.
I just get older and the web just stays the same.
I know what you mean.
So the politicians are still playing games like we can't figure out what the hell's going on and we're not politically savvy. I mean, Say what you will about Clinton, but you know what? That dude was getting blowjobs in the office because everything else was taken care of.
Was it?
Shit, dude, none of this stuff was going on his watch.
The fucking USS Cole didn't happen on his watch.
Dude, America didn't get attacked.
America's soldiers got attacked.
American soil didn't get attacked. With Bush,
with that argument, during the other 7 years of Bush's presidency, America didn't get attacked. So you could argue that Bush did a great job.
Yeah, but he was listening to phone calls and tapping everybody's line.
Let me take a step back here. You say that during the Clinton administration, America didn't get attacked. What about Timothy McVeigh in Oklahoma City? What about the World Trade Center bombings when they drove a truck full of fucking fertilizer into the parking garage? America, sir, did get attacked. It was unsuccessful as far as that whole the World Trade Center thing, but it did get attacked during the Clinton administration.
You're right. Along the lines of such a substantial attack, I think Bush should have been along the lines of like a Rutherford B. Hayes, like a president that was in history as a president. He was not equipped to make the decisions that he needed to. No, I don't know that John Kerry could have. I don't know if there was another guy. Maybe John McCain, I would have been a little more confident because he had a military background on how to handle this shit. And I know the Bush was in the Air Force, but let's be honest. This boy was drinking Jack and smoking and sniffing cocaine, and he was daddy's boy, and he got in here because he was like, man, I know everybody, and hey, I'm doing my thing. To quote a Jon Stewart thing. He was not equipped for this war. You
don't think so? See, I completely disagree.
No. Colin Powell fired him. He fired anybody that disagreed with Bush. He fired.
He didn't fire Colin Powell.
Well, Colin Powell quit. He's like, I'm done with this shit. Dude, Cheney's shooting cats in the face? I mean, what the fuck's going on during
that
that
had nothing
time?
to do with the war. It had nothing to do with the war.
Well, it was just funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I'm just saying that I don't think that Bush was like this evil mastermind.
No, I don't think Bush was evil. I just think he was ill-equipped.
But who is well-equipped during that time?
Abe Lincoln was a great president.
Was he? Abe Lincoln was was hated by a lot of people during his time.
You're right, but he was the right president for that situation.
Was he really? I mean, in retrospect, see, this is one of those situations where, like, history is written by the victors. Because at the time, there like a lot of people.
Yeah, we are in the South right now. It is the war.
We are in the South. Yeah, a lot of people incorrectly attribute Lincoln with the man who was like, well, Lincoln freed the slaves. Lincoln wasn't interested in freeing the slaves.
Oh no, not at all.
Lincoln wasn't interested in anything.
He wanted to preserve the Union.
That was it. That was his sole goal. He once said, "If freeing the slaves would save the Union, that's what I'll do. If keeping them as slaves would preserve the Union, that's what I would do." That was his primary goal. Mm-hmm. Now, could you say that he was the president for that time? I don't know, because I mean, like, let's look at it now. I mean, for example, we are a strongly divided nation. Now, I don't know if we were as divided back then. I would think so if it came to war. But I mean, what did he really accomplish? I mean, how many people died? Tens of thousands of people died in the Civil War. So, how great of a job did he really do? He is directly responsible, one could argue, for more deaths than we have suffered during the entire Iraq and Afghanistan campaigns combined. And of Americans yet.
Yeah, but I think any civilization will go under some sort of civil unrest when...
Unrest is one thing. I mean, Thomas Jefferson said after the Whiskey Rebellion, I believe it was during his presidency, or at least during the early part of the United States, that that type of rebellion should be expected, not just expected, but almost looked forward to know that men are still free.
Well, bringing that sort of American mentality, you bring it up into this election that just happened with the Tea Party. Right. I mean, and their political push, which is funny now with the Republicans. They're like, well, okay, we're in here now, so go away. now that we've won, just
I do want to take a step back, because I do seem to be defending Bush a lot during this discussion. But don't get me wrong, I am not a fan of the Republican Party as it currently sits. I consider myself at this point to be more of a libertarian. It just so happens that the Republican Party unfortunately agrees with more of my views than, say, the Democratic Party does. Because the Democratic Party seems to be more of... And I'm not even talking war. I mean, we were just discussing war.
Right.
I'm talking about economically, for example. That this whole concept of, like, well, if you take from the rich and give to the poor, then we can all get along, we can all succeed. I don't disagree. I don't agree with that at all.
I actually believe in fair tax. I think there should get rid of income tax. I think there should be a fair tax. Everybody should get taxed 25%. Because if you look at right now, when you purchase something, the markup is about 23% to make a profit. Take that away. Anything that you buy, tax me on. Other than that, leave me alone. I want 100% of my paycheck. If I want to take my paycheck and ferry it away, don't tax me on it. Leave me the hell alone. If I buy something, fine. If somebody dies, don't tax me on it. It should just be that sales tax.
And
do the fair tax. Businesses from overseas would come to America and open up jobs. Companies here would stop outsourcing to other companies because they would stop being that corporate tax. This is one thing that I disagree as far as a liberal goes. People say, "Oh, that guy makes too much money; he's being greedy." When do you stop being entrepreneurial, and then you become greedy? Where's that line?
And see, well, one of the things that I think that a lot of liberals, as far as I say, liberals, the Democrat ideals, as far as, well, those who are rich should be taxed more to help out the people who aren't so rich, is the fact that most of those people who are rich have taken huge risks, huge gambles, that just bankruptcies that have just so happened to work out in their favor. I mean, if you read any kind of true entrepreneurs, like the truly rich at this point. You read about the Steve Jobs story, or you read about the Bill Gateses, or you read about like the Michael Dells, or you read about anybody who has made it big.
Any
Trump.
one of those guys. Yeah.
All of those guys have basically said at some point in their past they were broke and they gambled and they happened to make it out on top. So it's not like they're getting an unfair advantage. They got lucky and they made the right decisions and they happened to come out on top. Because even sometimes people who make the right decisions still just the forces of the universe work against them and they fall flat on their face, and that's just life. Shit happens, right? So, the universe has worked out in their favor, and so we as a country end up punishing them, basically saying, well, the rest of the country gets taxed at 20%, 30%. We're going to tax you at 50 or 60% to pay for all these people who are disadvantaged, quote unquote, or whatever. That shit really seems unfair. So as far as the fair tax goes, I personally am more of a fan of the no tax plan. No income tax whatsoever. Unfortunately, we're never going to see that unless we see to use the word drastic as far as government cuts. Drastic doesn't begin to cover it. It would have to be a catastrophic cut in our government.
Well, the thing of it is,
which isn't going to happen. I understand that.
We as a country need to start paying back our debt, because here's the thing: we're not paying back our debt. Our debt's getting bought up by other countries.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
China and India. So
that's no secret anymore.
60 years ago, if you were to take the national debt and ferry it out between every American citizen that was working, let's just say 18 and above, it was $400, which was your what you owed.
Right. To pay off the national debt.
Today, it's $44,000.
Right.
That an individual American, you and I, and you, one or two listeners out there, owe. Just because you're born.
Right, which is terrifying.
As soon as you...
It really is.
And it's growing exponentially. There has got to be a plan out there that it gets shut down and it stops. And, I understand that there's these political views, and we have a president that's charismatic, and he shoots hoops, and he bets on college teams.
He's black?
No. Bush would go out to the ranch and eat. Bush was a pretty cool guy.
Are you saying that because he's white?
I am saying that. We need a Hispanic president because my people work.
Just have all his friends move in.
And my people work like 23, 24 hours a day. That's why shit would get done. I don't want a political party anymore. I want a fucking solution. I want somebody to go, you know what? This is the plan. To hell with Democrats, to hell with Tea Parties. This is the plan. This is the best that's for the country. Let's go. Not for a party.
But see, and this is where I think that even though you're right, I don't see that ever happening, because we have this huge voting bloc now who have been empowered to believe that they deserve something. And until that mentality of you deserve this is broken, we're never going to get to that point of, okay, we need to get out of debt now, because they don't care about that kind of stuff. They all they care about is not what's best for the country. They care about what's good for me. It's the party almost of me.
All right, I don't think we're going to make any ground on this. Let's try something else. What do you got?
Well, guns. You and I have talked about guns before, and
I got two of them. You want tickets to the gun show?
Although
right
here. Oh, so
stop kissing me. That's gay.
One of the things that me and Brian have talked about before.
Not that there's anything wrong with being gay.
There's a lot wrong with being gay.
No. My brother-in-law's gay. I love him very much. There's nothing wrong with being gay. Is this another liberal, conservative differential?
Let's just put it this way.
Here we go.
If I want to fuck a tree,
right,
it is considered unnatural, and I would have to see a therapist for it. However, if I want to fuck someone whose Lego pieces don't match with mine, it is considered normal and acceptable in modern society, and not some kind of mental disorder. I view the same thing as far as people who undergo gender transformation. If I were to cut off an arm, it is considered a medical disorder that requires treatment. If I want to cut off my penis, I can get government funding to do so.
Right.
So I don't lend a lot of credence to sexual identity issues. I think it's more of a mental type of problem. And this is from a person who has a gay
a gay person in my closet.
I
knew it.
Who had a gay person in my family who passed away. He contracted the AIDS virus and passed away just last year, or maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. So, but anyway, that's not really what we're here to talk about. Maybe for another show.
I digress. We'll get into that.
Right.
A different show, but you were saying you had a dream.
Sure.
I
have a dream.
Had a dream.
With the goddamn gays. All right, no, just kidding. See, but at the same time, sorry, just about referring back to that. At the same time, even though I personally don't agree with it, I believe that people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. So if you want to fuck a tree, feel free. If you would like to fuck someone who has the same sexual orientation of you, feel free. It's not my fucking business. So even though I personally find it
unpalatable.
I believe that in this country, we are a country of freedom. You should be able to do whatever it is you like that makes you happy. Just, I don't want to know about it. So what you do in your personal life is your business. What I do in my personal life is mine. That's how I feel.
Okay. Fair enough.
So anyway, the original thing we were talking about, me and Brian kind of a topic before about guns, and I am a conservative in the fact that I love firearms. I think they're fun, but more than just fun. See, a lot of people in this country forget that the whole reason. Well, first off, they just forget what the whole reason of the Second Amendment is. Like a lot of people bring up, well, you wouldn't use that type of gun for hunting. You don't need that type of gun for personal defense. But the whole reason behind the Second Amendment, as far as the founding fathers goes, is for simply that the power, the physical strength of the country should remain in the people and not the government. That because they left a government that was oppressive. So the whole purpose behind the Second Amendment is so that the people may at any time override the powers of the government. That is at least the theory behind the Second Amendment. Whether or not that is a applicable theory for our time is a completely different discussion. Yeah. But that was the original intent of the Second Amendment.
Allegedly, what we believe.
Okay.
Neither one of us were there. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
My views on guns are different.
See, what's funny though, if you actually read into some of the discussions that went on in that
I don't want to read. I just want to have an opinion.
There were when the amendments were being ratified, the Second Amendment was like one of those where they just went, the right to keep and bear arms. Okay, sure. Move on to next topic.
Stamp next.
Stamp next. There were more discussions about the other freedoms, like having to house a soldier inside of your home, or the freedom of speech, or the right to assembly. There were more arguments about those other topics, which today we accept,
right,
than there were about the right to bear arms. Back then, it wasn't considered a big deal because everybody owned them. For hunting or for security or for...
See, that's the one thing I think, for hunting, you there wasn't a Kroger. I dare say there wasn't a Kroger back in, when our country was first started. There wasn't farms that facilitated your food for you. But
there were local. There were farms where you had your own farm, or there was a local town.
You had your own firearm because you had to do it yourself.
Right.
You had to execute your own animals. You had to do your own hunting. You had to do that. There wasn't a grocery store back then that would say, "Yeah, come to the Mayflower Kroger, experience," and you walk in there and it's like, "Oh, there's air conditioning." I don't know what air conditioning is, but we have it, and we have turkeys hanging up, and there's all the Indians are working here. God damn it!
Right. But so I say that, and I really believe that the original intent of the Second Amendment, and once again, the arguable part is whether or not this is still applicable to today's society. Now, I stand on one side of the fence, and I believe Brian stands on the other side of the fence.
The right side.
But the original intent was so that the people would hold the final physical power over what the government should and shouldn't do. I believe that's what the whole purpose of that amendment was. Because even if you read at the time, between the everybody always references the Bill of Rights, which is the first amendments that granted individuals the right to assembly, the right to freedom of speech, and the right to this and that.
Right.
Which is funny because the original amendments are all individual rights, but it's always the Second Amendment, which is like, well, it's not really an individual right, it's more of a communal right, and this and that. It's the only one that always comes under fire. But the Second Amendment, besides just being an individual right, also it's hard to really put this. There was a whole other section of documents that were written to newspapers as editorial comments called the Federalist Papers. Now, these Federalist Papers were actually written by the Founding Fathers. People like John Adams, people like Benjamin Franklin wrote in anonymously to newspapers.
With surnames and...
Right. There were the Federalist Papers, and then at the same time there were the Anti-Federalist Papers, where they were arguing basically over what rights the new found federal government should have.
Right.
So the at the time, the Second Amendment was deliberately pointed towards the militia. The militia should be the individual. The militia at that time was considered to be any able-bodied man. Well, let me rephrase that. Because we are going period correct, it was any able-bodied free man over the age of 18 would be considered part of the militia automatically. If you are over the age of 18, you are expected to stand up for your country and fight.
No, I saw the Mel Gibson movie. I saw The Patriot. No, I get it. And you had to melt down your toys to make the bullets.
But there were arguments, obviously, to the
Heath Ledger got
contrary to that. But there were arguments that the whole point of the people and the militia and the Second Amendment was so that the power would always remain in the hands of the people. There were even arguments at that time against ever having what they called a standing army. So what we have now today as the armed forces, like the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, at that time was argued against, that we should never have a standing army, like a constant, that's all your job is being a soldier, because that grants too much power to the hands of the government, because then they can direct those soldiers to do whatever it is they like. But anyway, I digress. At that time, I believe that was the intent. Nowadays, is that intent still valid? Arguable. I believe it is. People like Brian may disagree, but that's not the point.
Shut up, you're stupid.
Shut up, you're stupid. You know what you're talking about. Regardless, I'm a fan of guns. I think that they're fun. I think that shooting guns is the noisier equivalent to throwing darts in a bar. And I do.
I like that analogy.
I do.
I think that is fucking spot on.
Because the entire point, like, when I was taught as a young man to shoot by my father, my dad didn't like killing things. He was never a hunter. Even though if someone like offered him venison, he wasn't opposed to it. It just wasn't for him. Like, he was not a type of person who could take life. And that's cool, because that's part of what freedom is about. You're able to choose those things. But at the same time, he enjoyed shooting because he enjoyed it as a sport. So my dad taught me to kill paper. We would set up targets and a range.
Paper's a son of a bitch.
Paper is a son of a bitch. You got to put it in its place, or else paper will overrule us all. You wait and see.
Well, there's bureaucrats, and they love their paper. So.
They do. So he taught me to shoot. Actually, my first gun when I was 8 years old when I got my first gun. It was a 22.
Oh, shit.
It was a 22 rifle.
I was playing with G.I. Joes, by the way.
At the time, I wanted a BB gun, and for Christmas, I got a.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah. At the time, I wanted a BB gun. He got me a 22 rifle. The very next Christmas, I asked again for a BB gun because although a 22 rifle is very cool, you can't shoot a 22 in your backyard in suburbia without pissing off your neighbors.
Yeah.
So the very next Christmas, I asked for a BB gun again, and I got a 357 Magnum, which can also shoot 38s, and I got a 30-30 lever action rifle.
I just want to say right now that as the girl of this conversation, I don't know what you just said. There's a lot of levers and action and numbers.
But admit it, your pussy got wet a little bit.
I'm a little moist.
Cool.
My liberal side, although I oppose it, it does turn me on.
So, for a lot of people, and I would even introduce people who are so far to the left that they're just completely clueless about the real world, like Brian. No.
I would say I have held my ground, and I think that we and I can both agree, although I am liberal views, I am pretty, you've described pretty middle of the ground. You don't think I'm all the way left, and you're not sure how far right I am. Mm-hmm. So take it back, or I'll sue you.
Typical
Slander.
liberal comment.
For slander.
In any case.
Is Gloria Allred listening to this? Because I would like to... No?
No.
No.
So anyway, I view, as far as shooting for a new shooter, or especially for someone who relatively leans liberal, I look at shooting as a advanced form of darts. It's noisier, it's more fun, but basically the concept is the same. And Brian right now is looking towards his dartboard, that's sitting on the wall, because the whole purpose is it's a game. You try to see how close to the center you can get. It's all about form. It's all about, with darts, it's how you throw the dart. With a gun, it's how you hold the gun. Do you recoil when you pull the trigger? Do you blink? It's a lot of sport involved.
I can walk away from a dart injury though.
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you really?
Have you seen me throw?
I say we put that to the test.
We can. I'm liquored up enough to
I
be
believe
able to
that I can make a dart wound a mortal one. So anyway, I am a fan of the gun.
Fatality.
I personally own several firearms. I own several handguns. I own several rifles.
Jesus.
Of different calibers and possible purposes.
How big? What, like knocking over liquor stores, or just defending yourself?
Well, I have handguns for defense. I have handguns for fun. I have rifles for fun, and I have rifles for hunting. So it's really like pick your poison.
Okay.
So I completely forget how we got on this topic.
Look, here's the thing: the topics we get on, it's just kind of flowing down the river of wherever
alcohol?
we go with it. Yeah, of alcohol at that point. And speaking of alcohol, we do a drinking show, and we primarily have done beer, but we'll drink just about anything. I mean, hell, man, I had moonshine. I drink moonshine a couple times a year.
A couple times a year.
I have a couple times a year. But I got a moonshine guy.
A guy.
I got a guy that
got a guy.
I got a guy that can get me some moonshine. Well, by God,
that's typical of a liberal. I'm special. The rules don't apply to me, but everybody else should have to follow these rules.
Well, by God, I'll tell you what. I can get you some moonshine for a good price. We are not primarily a drinking show, but we have done drinking on our other show, drinklikeafish.net. Right now, we are drinking, like we mentioned before, our sweet tea vodka. If you get a chance to pick that up, our particular brand, I guess, is Jeremiah Weed.
Delicious.
There are a few others out there, but if you cut it with some lemonade, it is definitely Southerner's delight. And
you don't even realize you're getting drunk till it hits you. I mean, that's why we call it the ninja, because this shit just sneaks up on you and takes you out when you're not even paying attention.
There's really no mercy to it either. It's not a bad hangover in the morning either. Almost non-existent.
Really not. It's really not. I usually wake up the next day feeling pretty good.
It's a big smile on your face, like, hey, everybody.
Yeah, I feel like that guy from the Boner Pill commercials. Just popping around. Hey, why is he so happy? Well, it's because he's fucking everybody in the neighborhood, which is really the kind of unsaid story behind it. What is that, by the way? Because
hopefully that's a product that we won't have to get a sponsorship for.
I hope particular.
Not.
What is that? God damn it.
I don't know. If you guys are listening out there,
it's that dude. Yeah, it's that guy. He's got a big fucking smile. And the funny thing is, he's always married.
And his wife is not attractive.
His wife is not attractive, but it's always all the other women in the neighborhood who are coming to sit on his lap and rub up against him and that kind of stuff.
And the voice of the commercials is like the 1940s propaganda. Yes, Bill is happy. You can be happy too. Buy Chesterfields and support the war.
Fuck every woman on your block by buying our product.
Dun, 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 dun,
Which is really what's about. It's never about making the guy happy with his wife. It's always about making him happy with all the neighborhood whores. So I don't know if I can really support that kind of product anyway. If they decided to,
what's wrong with neighborhood whores?
Well, you're not supposed to broadcast it on TV.
You don't shit where you live at. I get it.
That's also a very good point. Don't shit where you live, kids. Because it's not.
And don't buy drugs.
It's just going to be nothing but bad things will happen.
Don't buy drugs. Start a shitty podcast, and they give them to you for free. Well, look, we've touched on a couple of topics tonight. I'm sure some are controversial. We have talked about politics. We've talked about gun rules. We pretty much just talked. And the whole point of this is Dave and I get together. This is conversations that we'll have without
regardless.
a mic.
Yeah, we'll have the shit regardless. We have the shit during the day. At the office.
At the office, on text. It's a little weird with text. We've called each other. I think we're stalking each other, which is a little weird. I don't know if that's. But hey, you know what? We're drinking and we're discussing. And if you guys are hearing this, we would really love your feedback as well. Like I said, we don't really plan these out. This is the first one. We hope to do a bunch more. We're enjoying doing these.
Absolutely.
And as far as topics goes, we're just going to flow and do what we want to do. But if you guys have something that you want to contribute, like, hey, I want to talk about ... That's cool. I mean,
great.
We would absolutely work that in.
Or even, not just throw out your opinion to us, but maybe just throw out like, hey, what do you guys think about
XYZ?
What do you guys think about Snooki? Frankly, I think she should be publicly executed, but that's a whole other topic.
No
O or no joke involved. I think the bitch should be publicly executed.
Wow. So the Jersey Shore is not on your queue?
No, not really. Not really.
Okay,
I'm from the Northeast, and that fucking show is an embarrassment. That fucking bitch, every time she gets punched on television, I celebrate a little bit. I'm waiting for the day that they find her just dead in a ditch with her panties wrapped around her throat.
Oh my god.
So I'm hoping for the best, and
planning for the worst.
I'm planning for the worst, that she'll have another fucking season for some goddamn reason.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's so. On that happy note,
cheery.
We're open to anything. So let us know what you think of the show. Let us know if there's anything you want to talk about. We're open to anything. This is a complete open forum.
How can they reach us, Bob?
How can they reach us? If you get on the interweb and you want to email us, it's pretty simple. You can email us right now, and we'll change this later. But for right now, you can email us at drinklikeafish1@hotmail.com. Now,
Lika is Lika.
Right, it's all one word. So drink
like a fish.
Lika fish, just the number 1, don't spell it out, just 1, at hotmail.com. And if you want to email Dave, you would email him at...
I'm not giving my fucking personal email. Are you crazy? We'll set something else later. Drink Like a Fish can forward me any emails.
Exactly. And I'm sure under the description we'll have the little Facebook links and everything else and email. We'll put it on You of the Tubes.
Something that would be fun later. Granted, this is our first show.
Right.
So right now we've just got an email contact for you. Hopefully we have like a more permanent one, maybe.
We will. We're definitely going to get one.
Something else I might see getting involved is maybe some kind of a voicemail line. We can have somebody call up and leave little voicemail messages.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be great, because maybe we could play those and then give a little fucking feedback for them.
little fucking feedback.
Little fucking feedback. I'm from the Northeast.
Fucking feedback.
These fucking motherfuckers. Fuck them all. So yeah, definitely. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Let us know some topics. I'd love to fucking hear what you guys got to say and contribute.
Yeah. So we're open to all that. And we're gonna keep rolling. So we're gonna get these out.
Rolling.
That's Kid Rock reference.
Actually, that's a Limp Bizkit reference.
Is it?
Yes.
Kid Rock. I went with Kid Rock on that one.
You're totally wrong.
And that's
bad.
Not even
close, dude.
Not even close.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you trying to say we all look alike to you? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes. All you people look alike.
You pale-skinned fucking.
You pale-skinned bastards.
Euro-Americans.
Unless you're a viewer that's a pale-skinned bastard, and then I love you. Or listener. I keep saying viewers like we're on some sort of. I still Once again, if you want to view us and you want to see our beautiful mugs, go to drinklikeafish.net. You can see our beer reviews. This podcast will actually be on drinklikeafish.net. It's also going to be on the iTunes, which is where you're probably downloading this from right now.
Fucking A, subscribe, people.
Subscribe, please.
Yes, we hope to put out one of these often.
Right, and I don't think, and I'm pretty sure that, if we're not going to get douchey, we're not going to be like, radio voices like, hey, Dave, what did you think of... Wow, that was like a Harry Carey.
Get like a horn,
Yes, it's Nudge in the morning. Hey, Dave, what did you do last night?
D&B in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, no, none of that shit.
D&B on radio,
95.5. It's the animal. No, we're not going to do any of that shit. We're just basically going to talk and blog.
Couple of slapdicks,
We are coming live from Slapdick Studio. And one of the things too is we talk about a little bit of news. We have our views, and often and always it's fueled by booze.
Amen.
So God bless America. God bless our potential viewers. And I hope my wife doesn't leave me.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers for now.
Cheers for now.
We probably should come up with a better